is Cars and Bids.
I'm Kennan.
I'm Filippo.
And today we're going to talk about cars we want to import.
Ooh,
It's a new year, and so there are new cars that are importable, and we're going to talk about what we want to bring into our great America. Let's do it. Okay, cars that are now legal to import. Now, before we get started, I want to make a little technical point here. When you import a car, as someone who's imported like 6 cars myself, when you import a car, the import, whether it can be imported or not, is defined by the month and year of production. So there's all these articles, whenever a new year changes, everybody's like, oh, there's all these other cars you can import as of January 1. That's not how it works. It's based on the build date. So if a car was built in August of 97, it is importable as of August of 25 years later, August of 22. That's the way that works. So January 1 of 2025 is no different than December 1, or like it depends when a car goes into production. That's when it becomes importable. And just because a car went into production 25 years ago doesn't mean you can bring it in yet. You have to wait until the build date hits 25 years. That's the way it works.
Check your specific car.
It's on the VIN, and it usually says manufactured in. Kennan, when was your M5 manufactured?
It was manufactured October of 2001.
10 of 01. So his car wouldn't be legal until 10 of 26. It is not legal January 1st of 26. But this is a misconception. There's always a lot of pieces about, cars are legal now. And you know what? We decided let's capitalize on this for some content.
Here we care about being pedantic and correct, but only...
But we still want the views.
Still
want the views. Okay. All right. So best cars you can now import. Yeah. Filippo, tell us what you're looking for.
Wow. Okay. I did a bunch of thought about this. And you guys have some of the classic answers that I thought were kind of boring. So I thought about what you said. I thought about the opposite direction too. Because cars that came out in 2001 will become legal. Some of them at some point in 2000.
Yep. If they were built
in 2025.
25, yeah.
Because if they were built in October, for this, it could count, which includes the Renault Avantime.
That car is legal now.
No. Well, there might be some examples that become legal later this year.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to be kind of specific about that.
Yep.
And it's also very hard.
It should be noted, by the way, that because it's based on the year of production, if a car comes out, you know, it might be a couple of years before you actually find one with the build date that matches up to when you can legitimately import one.
Look at this car.
The Avantime may be legal in October of 2000 because it came out in October 2000. It was built in October, but that doesn't mean you'll find in October 2000.
God, no.
Build.
I mean,
that's the problem.
To be fair, good luck finding one.
So the Avantime is legal this year?
It came out for the 01 model year.
Yeah, but it was built, they started building it in 2000.
It's really hard. It turns out for some of these more obscure European cars, it's not trivially easy to find out the beginning of production because nobody cares.
Beginning of production is hard to find. I will say mobile.de, because Europe doesn't use model years, mobile.de will show you month and year of first regration.
I didn't go that deep.
Which usually lines up somewhat close to...
I should have gone that deep. I might later tonight. At home on my computer. I haven't yet.
This is one of the all-time great cars. A lot of automakers have combined SUVs and coupes.
Yep.
Renault was like, what if we combined a minivan and a coupe, which nobody has ever thought in history. And of course, they sold 7.
Right.
And not only let's combine a minivan and coupe, let's make it ugly.
Ugly?
Yeah.
Ugly?
Yeah, it's heinous.
Yeah.
I mean, I want one. If you find one and
I will look.
I'm interested in partnering with you on an Avantime.
Can I group a second one into this? The Vel Satis.
The Vel Satis came out at the same time.
Also 01.
No way.
So we're realistically like a year plus. Because I think if I'm
it was a combination of velocity and satisfaction. Vel space Satis.
So to be very transparent,
that's the concept car. This is the unfortunate result of the truth.
Well, thank God that's important.
It came out in 01 for the 01 model. It's hard to know. Incredibly luxurious backseat. Kennan, you might recognize it from a Top Gear bit where he drove it from the back seat, I think.
These were also interesting because this was a combination of a luxury car and a hatchback.
Yes.
And that was an odd decision.
And I just learned exactly where the Ioniq 5 stole the little pixel
dots. Yeah, these were also bad, also rare. They were much more common than the Avantime. You still see these occasionally in France. Yeah. Nowhere else, no other country was conned into buying this terrible vehicle.
No.
But yeah, it was national pride.
National pride, they were like, all right, fine. We'll buy the hatchback wagon thing.
The business people of
Paris. Pull back out.
I do not know what you're talking about.
This is your French accent? Okay.
There's no rear photos of it for a good reason.
If you go for 2001, they just didn't actually. Yeah.
Yep, that's the back. Looked like a Peugeot 307. That is where it really looks its worst.
Yep.
Oh, that rear 3/4, not attractive.
Look at all those body lines. What was happening? What were they thinking?
Just like-
Look at how large that hatchback probably is.
it was
like-
huge and bizarrely shaped.
It was like they asked 3 different teams to design the rear of the car, and they just said, "Okay, use all of them."
One
and
of
just
those cars that
crushed
was
them together.
designed in close collaboration over the telephone.
Also, Kennan, imagine parts availability for that tailgate window.
Oh, dude, that
Oh,
window.
that's a complex window.
Well, you know what the thing is? These cars are all in junkyards in France. If you need a tailgate window, you just have to. You fly to France. You put it in your luggage.
You go talk to René, and he will get you.
All right. Now that we've lost all of our viewers, we can talk about some
Kennan,
of the
give
more
us a good
interesting
car.
cars.
Give us a good car that's legal this year.
There are quite a few. This is on your list too, but it's the Vauxhall VX220.
Yeah.
The X220 is legal.
Yes.
This was a Lotus Elise that looked better. That Opel Vauxhall rebadged, called it the VX220. That was the British version. In the mainland Europe, it was called the Opel Speedster.
Yes.
And it is so cool. I've always felt this was just a really better looking Elise.
It is. And-
Radically better looking.
Yep, and it is an Elise, fundamentally.
It is fundamentally
Fundamentally
Elise,
an Elise.
except it didn't have the Toyota powertrain.
Yeah.
So you get a better looking car, but you lose one of the Elise's primary benefits, which is that great 2ZZ 4-cylinder with the
And
second cam.
instead you have an Ecotec 1.6.
But
probably.
Ecotec, it's a European motor that who knows about parts and all that. But
Well, I mean, you could probably swap in the Lotus drivetrain.
That's a good
I
point.
bet it probably would work.
that's a good point. That's a good point. I
You
never
can
thought
just
about that.
Take an engine out of a Corolla XRS.
Yeah. If you
Sure.
can find a Corolla XRS. I see way more Elises than Corolla XRSs. But you're right.
Yeah.
Probably easier to find talk to René and find one at the local
On
junkyard.
GT.
Yeah,
But-
these cars started production, also in 2000?
Yes, I remember this car on Top Gear, and I remember thinking it was like so cool. But again, forbidden fruit because we just never could have it.
I just feel, I always liked the Elise. I had an Elise of this generation. I thought they were cool, but
this is just
this was a better looking Elise. It just
So
looked
much
sharper,
more
and more
aggressive.
Like, aggressive. Yeah.
Where the Elise is not.
Always wanted one of these cars. I remember reading in European car magazines in period, these are these cars. And then I finally went to Europe and I never saw one. I don't think I've ever seen one.
Never seen one.
And I guess I didn't realize because the S2 Elise didn't come out till
the US, it didn't
in the
come
US,
out.
yeah. But at the time, which there's another car on the list, which is the Exige, the first generation Exige, came out in 2000 and is now importable. But I didn't realize because those would have been they would have been making this that would have been production too. It's kind of an odd period of time.
Yeah, Elise S2 came out. Elise S2 came out in 2001. So this car and the S2 Elise were the same, and it just didn't come out in the US till 05 because they couldn't get it working. You know,
Lotus, yeah,
Yep.
lots of trouble.
Okay,
usually
one of
serious.
my big ones, right? One of my big ones, B5 Audi RS4 Avant. In the 2000s, 2010s, a company.
Yeah. Go to
We
the,
sold
go to the
this one.
site. Yep.
In the mid 2010s, a company went to an enormous amount of trouble in order to get this car legally federalized. And that opened the door for a lot of other B5 RS4 Avants to become legally federalized. And a lot of people did legally federalize them. The reason they were able to, they did the emission stuff they had to do, and the body they convinced the US government was the same as a regular B5 Avant, which we got. Now the car is legal. You don't have to federalize
But
it
what is that?
It's
Like,
amazing to me. This is one of the greatest cars I've ever driven.
our B5 RS4 price, we've sold
one
a
of,
bunch.
of all time.
Yeah.
B5 RS4s, we've sold like a decent number, 4 or 5. Prices have come down from when this sale was.
Yeah, well, people must have known. I mean,
and
the
like,
federalized
do you
thing
think
no
they'll
longer
go down?
matters.
Do you think they'll go down more?
Yeah, because they're not $90,000 in Europe. I drove one of these. I've always been a B5 guy. I had a B5 in college, and it was a cheap used car then, and the Tiptronic transmission failed, which they all did. But I've always been a B5 guy. I love the look. I loved how tight they are. They steer and handle fantastically, considering they're front-wheel drive based. But this car specifically was so much better. The wider track, the wider tires, and the powertrain, which was made by Cosworth, is absolutely magical. I drove this car on Connecticut back roads, and
It's a good place.
this exact car, and it was just magical. Absolutely magical car to drive. And they're legal now. The motor was so stuck in there. Pull up an engine. I will never own this car. It terrifies me.
Yeah.
The motor was so stuck in there. It looked, and Audi didn't build it. I want no part of this thing. But it was so cool.
Some people would say that Audi not building it is a selling point.
And that era was probably for the best.
Yeah,
it was
is, isn't
so cool. And they're illegal.
It is so cool. I agree.
All right, Filippo, give us another one.
All right. Let's talk about the Alfa Romeo 147.
Okay.
What's 155 legal?
The 155?
The 156. When is the 156 legal?
No, sorry, Kennan, you misheard me. The 147.
A 147.
When is the
My
156
mistake.
legal? The 156 is legal already.
Is it?
That great 156
The
Sportwagen?
159 came out in 02 or 03, but the 147 is the hatchback, and nobody should import one. All right, let's move on.
Yo, look up the 156 Sportwagen. The 159.
The 159 is the one you want.
Yeah.
Which I think is a couple of years still.
This is a cool looking car. It was probably bad.
I am surprised that nobody's imported one of these because they are
Yeah.
great looking cars.
People have the GTVs and Spiders are pretty cool.
Right.
Why don't somebody
But
bring one?
the
That one's in
147
New Zealand.
The 147 was the normal, with like the hatchback that you saw a lot, and actually a lot of police officers in Italy, the Carabinieri, drove the 147 hatch.
Yeah.
So if it's good enough for the Italian state police,
Right.
it's good enough for us.
This was a time I was actually thinking about Alfa just the other day because this was Alfa for so many years got away with just making beautiful cars that were okay.
Yep.
And that's just people don't give that to them anymore. It's just it's not allowed anymore.
No.
And globalization has made it that Alfa's got a parts share and they can't just make these like beautiful special cars that like weren't really that great. But the 159.
Okay, look up the Alpha. It came out in 06.
They came out, production started in 04.
The 06 for the wagon, which is what you want. The 159.
Dude, 159 was a beautiful,
Gorgeous car.
Was that not the Barrera when it,
the
Barrera
coupe was the Barrera
version was the Barrera.
I think the Barrera is still one of the most beautiful.
I strongly disagree, but the 159 wagon is
I never
gorgeous.
loved the Barrera, but everyone else
love the
does.
Barrera.
We're wrong about this.
No.
Like
you're
in
wrong.
general, people love the Barrera.
It's like a CTS V. It's a CTS coupe, and I don't like the CTS coupe.
It's got bad luck.
Well, that's a bit much, but yeah.
But generally, people love the Barrera.
2031. I might add, this might be a car that I actually have to import. Unfortunately, it's not for another 6 years.
No, it's too cool for you. You won't do it.
Yeah.
No. 2-liter diesel. Great.
Kennan, give us another one.
Big engine.
So me being me, one of the cars that comes to mind is the BMW B10 Alpina is now importable into the. There are a number of Alpina cars that are really cool. This was
this is an E39 based car.
Yes, this is the E39. So if you didn't
What motor's in it?
So this I believe has the 4.8 liter or the 4.6 liter engine from
really?
I think.
4.6, yeah.
Basically, if you didn't want an E39 M5, you wanted an automatic because you wanted an automatic because Alpinas were I believe,
Kennan
all
does.
automatic in this period.
Or generally, that was the thing.
This was the car that you chose. And it got a lot of really cool Alpina bits, including the interior, which is amazing because it got all of these really cool Alpina stuff. The stripes on the seats. It got the blue gauges. It got the stitching on the steering wheel.
That one's a stick.
This one's a stick, but it's so cool.
Do we think that they're all in Japan?
That is a Japan thing.
I actually know a guy in Dubai
So far,
who
they're
has
all right.
The Japanese look at this and like, oh, it's modified from the factory. I got to get on this. I don't even have to wait to modify this car. It's already modified.
No, it's okay. They'll add a bad steering wheel and a horrible shifter to it. That's like the Japanese
and a mini disc player. And a mini disc player.
And a mini disc player. The Japanese simply cannot help themselves. But
look at that car, Kennan. Go back to the red interior one. That's your car, but not.
But different.
And,
Yeah.
it has the stupid shifter buttons on
I
the
never
steering
noticed.
wheel.
I think it's got and this is leather and it's got like a little pattern on it.
How funny.
But yeah, that's a later one. It's a facelifted car. But still, yeah, some of these early 2000s BMW Alpinas are really exciting cars.
Those bizarre stripes they had.
Oh, I love that. And those wheels, they have different bumpers, and it was weird because they wanted a more cushioned version of the M5 because the M5 existed at the time and had since 1998. And so this was kind of an odd decision, I think, for this car to exist, but nonetheless, super, super cool. Look at that. That is a 2000.
That's a cool looking car.
Yeah, that's a purposeful, tasteful, and it got this little wing on the back. It's a cool car.
However, the answer to this whole video is, as of 60 days ago, officially legal, the Audi A2.
Yeah.
The Audi A2 came out in first went into production November 1999. It is generally agreed to be ugly. I disagree sharply. I think it's a gorgeous car.
Let's not call it
It's
ugly.
very cool. Most people call it ugly.
All aluminum,
Everyone who owns them loves them.
except for.
People who repair them.
Yep.
No, this car is well loved.
But no, I think they like them all, especially.
I
no.
love this car.
The
And
body is aluminum.
when I went looking
impossible to repair.
for my A class a couple of years ago, and I bought that A class, what I really wanted was one of these, but it wasn't legal yet, and so I couldn't get it. They were sold new in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, but it's impossible to find crappy cars like this that lasted 25 years in Mexico. They just didn't. You'll find some pensioner who bought one in Europe, and someone will start bringing these in, a couple, and they are the coolest things.
Can you go to a rear photo? Because the
Rear and
spoiler,
alloys. Rear and alloys. That one, yeah.
the spoiler, like the window,
You don't see these. When I would first go to Europe, and like the first time I went to Europe really was like 2010. They were around.
Saw 'em.
They're not anymore. I was there last summer. I don't think I saw a single one. They are just gone. I sent you on mobile.de a couple the other day. It's hard to find one that's legal yet because they've just gone into production.
In about 2004, my dad still lives in Italy, but we would go back to visit him. We were driving from Italy to Croatia because Croatia is where the Italians that have even less money than the other Italians go to vacation. It's cheaper. And my dad ran into the back of one on the highway.
Oh.
And I felt very bad for them because they will never get that car repaired.
No, there are aluminum body shops everywhere. The F-150 is aluminum.
Now.
I can take it to any Ford dealer body shop. I thought these cars were so cool. One interesting fact about this, Audi never used the A2 name again. So even though there were A3s and A4s and Q2s and Q5s and everything, the VA2 was this car.
You're right.
Like a sports jersey for an icon.
Yeah,
they retired it into the rafters.
It was retired. This car had a lot of cool things about it. It was all aluminum, which was neat. That really helped it save weight. The design of it, the aerodynamic shape of it, was really lent itself well to fuel economy. And there was a version that got like 90 miles per gallon. It was a very special, rare version that you had to get. But even the regular ones would routinely get 50, 60. It was supposed to be like a small little van hatchback thing that was a common segment in Europe around 2000.
Yep.
And, you know, it was rival to the A-Class, rival to the what is now the 2 Series Grand Tourer, but it didn't go well, and Audi just bailed on the segment.
But we love it so much.
I think that car is everything I dislike about 2000 styling. Round. Like, it's just a bubble. It's just a bubble, blobby.
Look at that spoiler. Look at that.
I am not exaggerating.
Spoiler.
I was looking on mobile.de for these literally this week.
I would collaborate.
I would want to find one in that spec, though, and they are hard to find. You can't be choosy. There are not many nice.
I would accept a non.
To watch James' video.
No, I would not accept a silver one.
And it's got to
be silver with the alloys. But we could get the alloys separately.
Yeah, you probably could. I found those color ones. Type in, what was it called? Color or something? Just type in the word color after it. I can't remember what it was called. This. There was like, they did like bright color. Oh, Storm. Color Storm. Go down. Scroll down. Just scroll. It was like an off-roady version, and then they also did like bright colors. There are a few of those.
The diecast is out of stock.
I was going to say, it looks like a model car.
That's the only way for us to get it.
Diecast, yeah.
Okay, those are some cars that are going to be legal in 25. We apologize to everyone who doesn't like those cars, but you're wrong. They're now coming.
Wait, can I talk about one more?
Yeah.
The Holden Ute. I think
the Holden Ute, yes.
As the only non-European car we'll discuss.
What do you mean? Holden Utes have been on sale for decades. Maybe they didn't call it the Ute.
This generation of the Ute.
This generation of the Ute, which is the one which then, this is the one that kind of everybody wants.
Now.
Yeah, this is legal now. Yeah, was it 5.7 liter V8? Yeah, these are, the idea of this showing up at Cars and Coffee to me, because when I think of the Ute, I think of this, I think of the Maloo, like getting into that era.
5.7.
Yes, and that I believe is the one that is importable now.
The SS, it looks like. 302 horse, 6-speed manual.
Yeah.
The GTO, but better.
VU is the one you're talking about, apparently. So these are legal now.
Yeah.
They must have all been right-hand drive.
I would imagine they were.
I mean, the Australian market is the only market that's interested in these Utes.
But that's fine.
Is it?
Yeah, why not?
You got to shift with your left hand.
That's easy.
I find it more natural, to be honest with you.
Some of us are.
You find it more natural to shift with your left hand?
Yeah, when I drive right-hand drive cars, in right-hand drive or left-hand drive countries, I found it way more natural to command the car, like steering the car with my right hand and shifting with my left.
He wears a watch in his right hand. It's a whole thing.
I don't know. I've drove hundreds and hundreds of miles that way and never had a problem.
Well, you're insane. I drove a Mitsubishi Attitude in Thailand.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's good for you.
What a way to end.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Filippo, thank you for participating.
Thank you.
And for giving us your wisdom. Alpha 147.
Thank you.
Goodbye.